welcome to American Dream Latin Souls. I'm Daniel Ortiz, and today my guests are entrepreneurs Gil and Nidia Martinez. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I'm real excited about your particular story as an entrepreneur, Gil and Nidia, because you have taken basically part of the culture that you grew up with, the rich culture we have here in New Mexico, and you've relied on that and created a whole business that actually ends up enhancing the culture. So it's a totally amazing story, and I'm glad you're here to share it. So before we get into your story, the question we have for our guests is, what is your American dream and what does it mean to you?
You know, my American dream or my dreams have been phased out. Like every 10 years I've got a new dream.
Okay.
The one we have right now, Nidia and I share the dream, is we started a nonprofit foundation,
okay,
Los Niños Solidarity Foundation, and our dream is to get that foundation going. And really that foundation is designed to be the working arm of the Santuario de Chimayo.
Okay.
The foundation will be there to give them the resources that they need to fulfill their spiritual programs, their children programs, family programs, to keep the property up to par and things of that sort. So that's our dream at this point. It changes, like I said, as we move forward, but that's our dream.
All right, well, the Santuario de Chimayo is a story in and of itself, and we're definitely going to talk about that as well. And to get to that point where you're able to fulfill your dream in service, basically in helping others, is you've started with a foundation as entrepreneurs. You're the co-owners of Terra Bella Artful Interiors, and that in and of itself is a wonderful story because it's all unique, it's all handcrafted furniture. So for our audience, tell us about Terra Bella Artful Designs.
You know, Terra Bella has been around for 10 years now, and really our niche is the custom furniture niche. And not just basically furniture, we're a design center. So we do art, we do furniture, just about anything somebody walks into the store and say they're looking for, we can produce.
And this is something I think that's unique to Santa Fe, New Mexico, is they say everything is art in Santa Fe, right? You know, clothing is art, furniture is art. So this is not just furniture, this is art or furniture as art.
It's functional art is really what it is.
Okay.
Because, you know, we've designed dining room pieces or bedroom sets or whatever that are truly pieces of art.
And these are one-of-a-kind pieces. They're not manufactured in China or someplace.
There's nothing manufactured in the store at all. Nothing. Everything is handmade. A lot of it's produced here locally. Some of it's produced in Mexico. You know, it all depends on what the customer's looking for, is on who's going to be building it for us.
So where did you get the vision to start this type of business?
To start with, when we wanted to open up a store. Okay. And I had experience working for a design center in Santa Fe. With that, I wanted to open up pretty much a tile store with some accessories, pieces of furniture, things like that. Real fast, the cards turned around, and in 3 months I was selling more furniture than tile.
So the market told you?
They told us what they wanted and what they were looking for, and the good thing is we were able to fit that market. Okay. It almost came naturally. They came and told us what they wanted. I didn't know I could design furniture. Okay. I was forced to do it, and I ended up doing it. And now that's my biggest joy of anything, is designing furniture.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. So let's step back a bit and talk about the American Dream. This is a new venture for you relatively. I mean, 10 years, you said you've been involved in this, but you did start off your career as an entrepreneur. So tell us about your background and how you made that transition from working for some other company and starting your own business and having a unique business in our niche.
You know, if you look back, you know, a lot of people define entrepreneur in different ways. You know, sometimes it's just being successful financially, sometimes it's being successful in just whatever else you're doing. And to me, I'm where I'm at because I've always been sort of like a leader, and I don't want to, I want to be a little more humble and say I've been a leader all my life. But if you look back at everything I've done, wherever I was hired, I could have been hired at a low-line level, and before you know it, I was managing the place.
Okay, so you're a born leader. I mean,
that's the way I see it.
So tell us about some of your jobs you've had before, up until the point where you started Terra Bella.
So when I was 22, I was hired at the convention center, and pretty much I was hired just helping with conventions and things that were coming in. within 3 months, I was the operations manager of the convention center. And so that put me into the hospitality industry. Working with conventions, and I was working closely with the hotels and everybody in town. And when I left the convention center, I was offered a job at the La Fonda Hotel. And La Fonda was a wonderful place to train me. And at that same time that I had that offer, I was offered another job at a hotel that was just being built, and it was going to be a bigger, better hotel. And so I accepted it with this job, telling them I can only work here a year because I'm going here. I started off that job, and I was making, and this is back in the 80s, so the numbers are pretty low. I probably started at minimum wage, like $5 an hour. In that year, I left making $60,000 a year, and it's every I don't think there was a check that went by at La Fonda that I either didn't get a bonus or a raise or something that compensated my work.
Okay, so you obviously did very well in your previous jobs. Moved up the corporate ladder, so to speak. You had a secure position. Actually, you were in demand, so you made a name for yourself. So why leave that? And Nidia, I'd like to hear your part of that story. Why leave that to safety security to start your own business in Santa Fe, New Mexico? What were you thinking when you said, I'm going to leave this and start my own business?
A veces las circunstancias nos empujan o nos ayudan con nuestros sueños.
She's saying that a lot of times the circumstances put you in certain situations where you have to make decisions.
So was there an event or what situation put you in that?
Terminó un trabajo y pensábamos qué hacer. Y de repente salió el sueño de tener un negocio propio. Y pensábamos en chiquito. Pensábamos en hacer en un negocio nada más de tile. Incluso tile de segunda calidad. No es que sea tile usado, sino de segunda.
Economical tiles.
Okay. So you start off thinking, well, start a small business.
Small business.
Very small business. Okay, so that's interesting because I've always said in this program and throughout my other areas of my career is that entrepreneurs are born and not made. So what I'm hearing is I don't think you were born an entrepreneur. You became an entrepreneur later in life. Or do you think you were born an entrepreneur, you just never had the opportunity or took the chance to fulfill that?
I think I had to go through a process to teach me what the entrepreneur was actually was.
Okay, so you weren't born an entrepreneur, but you became one.
I think so, and a lot of it was working for corporations or individuals that I didn't want to be like. Okay. And so you're put in a situation and you're working in a situation and say, well, this isn't really me. This isn't what I'm all about. Right. So it sort of forced me to start saying, well, maybe I need to be on my own. Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, but sometimes they don't think out of the box neither. And if you're thinking out of the box and they're not, you're not really in a comfortable situation with them.
Right.
Because you think you're always able to do something better, and a lot of times they hold you back. And so it
was in there all the time. It's just.
I think so. It just took a process to make it come out. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And the older you get, the wiser you get, and a little more comfortable you get with different things. So it was just a process going through life. That's all it was.
Okay, so it was a process. So tell us about Terrabella Artful Interiors. I like the name because it is Artful Interiors. I mean, it's all about the art. Yeah. So what inspired you to make your creations? And I think we got some footage of some of the designs that you've created. So what inspired you to do that? Where does that come from?
Well, like Nidia said a little while ago, necessity a lot of times. And like you said, the customer told us what they were looking for. We started off.
The market tells you sometimes.
They tell you what they're going to pay. They tell you what they're going to buy. Everything.
Right.
Pretty much, you write your business plan. You present it to your banks or whoever.
Right. Business plans.
3 months later, it's a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
And that's really what happened with us. 3 months later, I was designing furniture, which I would have never imagined I was going to be doing. And when we started that process, my designs were all pencil drawings, and they worked. But really, what has pushed us over that edge is I got into my computer and I started drawing on Excel. And Excel is a spreadsheet program.
Right.
But I started drawing on Excel, and I was able to to build my piece of furniture on that piece of paper, and it was a little bit three-dimensional. It had color to it. So if you took a picture of a cabinet that I built and a picture of my drawing in Excel and put them together, they almost look like they're both photographs of the piece.
Is that right? Okay.
So that design helped my fabricators visualize what it was supposed to look like when it was done. It was able to give the customer a visual of what it was going to look like before it's done. A lot of people hesitate in buying something custom because they have to see it.
Sure.
But with my drawings, they can see it and see what the final product's going to look like. That's what put us over the edge. My drawings over anybody's drawings in town is what has made the difference.
Is that right? Okay.
That's really has made the difference.
And so all these are Southwestern designs, right?
Well,
Or
if you came into the store and told me you wanted something contemporary, I would design you something contemporary.
Okay.
The thing is, being a native of this area, born in Santa Fe, my designs do have that northern New Mexico touch. Nobody can question that.
Okay.
You know, and so they've got the carvings, they got the color, they got just the flair.
Sure, of course.
The Spanish colonial flair. So it's there. It's definitely there. My background, my upbringing, you know, if I look back at my grandparents' homes, a lot of my furniture designs probably reflect what I grew up with.
Sure.
So that makes me different than any designer in town.
¿Y Nidia, te ayuda con los designs, or do you help out with his artistic flair? Because usually women's influence is very strong, and especially at the home.
Yeah, no it is.
To be honest, para ser honesta, él es el artista que diseña.
He's the artist?
Él es.
Uh-huh.
Él es.
Do you give any input?
Bueno, sí, pero realmente son sus ideas.
Okay.
Honestamente tengo que decir, son sus ideas. Él es el creativo.
Okay.
Y yo soy su esposa, su amiga, su cheerleader.
So he's the artist, he's the designer, so it's his inspiration.
But she's got a critical role, and maybe she doesn't realize it neither. But a lot of times she looks at the designs and she'll say, well, maybe it's too much, or she'll always have a comment.
She gives you a look, huh?
and then it gives me that time to take a second look and say, well, maybe it is too much, or maybe it's the wrong color.
Nos gustan cosas parecidas, nos gusta mucho el color, nos gusta atrevernos a hacer cosas diferentes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we want to be unique, and that's and that's what our customers love about us. You know,
your pieces are unique and they're beautiful. I mean, they're art. I mean, you've nailed it. It's totally art.
And the sad thing is Santa Fe was known for its furniture. People would come from all over the country to buy furniture in Santa Fe because they wanted the Santa Fe look, the Santa Fe style. And one of the hard challenges right now is the recession brought in this hardship that all the stores that used to do all this Spanish colonial work and Santa Fe was known for, they're gone.
Okay.
You know, when I started the store, we were the new kids in the block.
Right.
Now we're the main ones.
So how have you weathered the recent recession?
Survival. That's what we've been doing.
Okay.
The furniture industry has been hit incredibly hard because we're tied with the housing.
Sure.
If the houses aren't selling, the furniture's not selling.
So you're still standing. So
yeah, there's been over a dozen furniture stores in Santa Fe that have closed in the last 4 years.
Okay.
And so right now the art is to survive it. You know, we're still doing our things, but we're surviving it.
Okay.
And as we go on to the second part of our conversation here, the slow part of the recession gave me the time to put into the foundation.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. You have a wonderful store and an artful design company, basically. But your passion is tied in with your faith and the work you do with Santuario de Chimayo. Before we get into that, I'd like to ask you, as an entrepreneur and as a Latino entrepreneur, what role does faith play in your business and the way you approach work?
All of it. It's pretty much being positive.
It's the foundation of our work.
Tell
us about that.
You know, we've been involved with the Santuario de Chimayo now for about 6-7 years.
Okay. Now I'm going to hold you right there because a lot of people watching this program are not from Santa Fe. They don't know the history of the Santuario de Chimayo. So tell me what is the Santuario de Chimayo, and then we'll talk about your involvement with that. And tell us about the history, because it is one of a world-renowned place of healing. It's like the Lourdes of America.
Yep.
Really, Lourdes in France, the healing center there. So tell us, what is Chimayo and the history of that?
Santuario de Chimayo is located 25 miles north of Santa Fe. It's a little town called Chimayo. There's a shrine there that right now it's 200 years old. They started building it in 200 years ago. And it's the shrine started off by a gentleman by the name of Don Bernardo Abeita. He's the one that built the shrine. And the reason that this occurred was he was working his fields one day and he looked at a distance and he saw this light coming out of the ground. He went to see what it was, got his shovel and started digging where that light was. There was a crucifix in the ground. So he called up the priest in the neighboring town, Santa Cruz, told him, come, look, there's a crucifix here. The priest told him, take it to my church, we'll put it in the altar in our church. And so they took it. The next day the cross was gone and he was back in that hole.
Okay.
That happened 3 times.
Okay.
So the
That's
priest
similar to the story that in Santiago de Compostela in Spain, which is where the Apostle James is buried, the light.
Yeah.
You saw the light, and they built the cathedral there. So continue. So this is
so Santuario is known for the healing, miraculous dirt that comes out of there. You know, a lot of people feel that it's got miraculous powers. If they've got an ailment, they can rub it on them. They can do whatever with this dirt, and they believe that it heals them.
okay. So they built the church over the site.
So the church was built where that light was coming out. There's a little hole in the ground. They call it the Pocito,
Yeah.
and that's where the cross actually was
the original
in that hole.
Okay.
The cross is in the altar of the church right now. So the altar you see, the cross you see in the altar, that's the original cross that came out of the ground.
Okay.
It hasn't been restored in 200 years, and it hasn't changed a bit.
And I've been to the Santuario, of course, as a young child.
Yeah.
You know, it's tradition for people from Santa Fe to go there during Holy Week. And, you know, people walk to take a pilgrimage. They walk to Santuario, of course. And I remember as a young child going there, you know, my grandmother used to take us. And so the church is very humble. It's a 200-year-old adobe church. But you walk in there and the feeling you get there, you get emotional about it.
It is.
It's, you know, you can go to the most magnificent cathedrals in Europe and all over the world, but you come to this little humble church in Chimayo, and it does something to you.
But it's small in scale, but it's a giant in spirituality.
Right.
Everybody says the Holy Spirit has to be there because you walk in and you feel it.
Una particularidad de Chimayo es que gente de todas religiones, de cualquier denominación o sin religión, van a Chimayo y, bueno, son bienvenidos, por supuesto, pero es algo especial.
Yeah, so people from all religions and no religion come
sí, es muy ecuménico, podríamos decir, es la palabra correcta, abraza todas las religiones. Es católico, pero
but
everybody is attracted to it, no matter what your background is.
And so what role is this in the Catholic Church as a whole? Has it been recognized?
It hasn't been officially recognized by the Pope or anything like that. Eventually, it probably will be because it's growing by leaps and bounds. They're getting close to like 400,000 visitors a year.
Okay.
For a community like that, that's pretty incredible.
Right.
Holy Week, like you were talking, the pilgrims. Last year they counted about 40,000 pilgrims going into that little town, that little church.
Okay.
You know, and there's testimonies like crazy. You go in there and you'll see. They post them on the walls.
Well, the walls are filled, yes,
They're
with
filled.
crutches and, you know, bandages and the people that have been healed, you know, by the dirt. So, okay, so that's the history of the Santuario. What's your involvement in it, and how does that fit into your American dream?
What we're doing now is since we've been involved so much there, and we've been interacting with visitors and with the people that run the facility. The pastor, his name is Father Julio Gonzalez, an amazing priest, and he's got a vision for Santuario. His limitations has been that they've never had the resources, they've never had the manpower, they've never had what it takes to move them to the next level. And while we were working there and we saw this and started hearing this, and Nidia and I said, if we want to give back before we die, this is the place to do it. If we want to do something that's going to be our legacy and something that we're going to give back to the Lord or whatever, this is going to be the place to do it.
Okay.
They need it. The need is there.
So what have you been doing as far as, and obviously we have some photos that are coming up on the restoration, because this is, again, it's a 200-year-old building and facility that's built from adobe, which is, what they had, that's all they had back in the day, before New Mexico was even a state. So what need you to see, and what are you doing to help it?
We're helping fix the areas that need fixing right at this point, but the main part of our foundation is going to be to start up a children's retreat.
Okay, so the foundation is Los Niños Solidarity Foundation.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're going to be raising funds. We're planning a 30-room retreat. We're going to have a lot of children's programs. We're going to have of all types. It'll be for adults as well. The facility will be basically for children's, and all the revenues and that come from the facility will go towards children's programs. So a lot of the local children will have a place to go learn and work and things of that sort.
Okay.
We wanted to go beyond Chimayo. The priests that run the facility, the Chimayo area, they're from Spain. Their order of priesthood, they're sons of the Holy Family, and they're out of Spain. They have a foundation there, and what they do is they help families and children as well.
Okay.
So we're going to be like the American arm of that foundation as well.
Okay, very good.
They build homes right now in Colombia for people that have cardboard homes. So they do a lot for children, and so we're hoping that we're going to get to that point. So that's our dream.
Okay.
Give us 10 years, and we're going to be doing some major things out there.
All right. Well, you're already doing some major things with innovation. So let's take a look at some of the slides and tell us, as we see, what is that there?
Right there is the Santo Niño Chapel.
That's a before and after shot, right?
Before and after shot. It's a 170-year-old chapel. It had been closed up for quite a few years because it needed some restoration. The floors were.
So was that a house initially?
No, it was built as a private chapel.
Okay.
The Medina family built it as a private chapel. The Sons of the Holy Family purchased it about 8 years ago.
Okay.
So they had it, and this is the interior of it.
So it's
You
before
look, that
again
was
and
like
after.
1960 picture, and then this is what it looks like now.
Wow, what a difference.
And the interior is designed for children. You walk in, and we carved 300 birds out of wood, and we had children paint them.
Okay, so all that furniture you see is handmade?
It's all handmade. It's all designed by us, all built by us.
Wow.
The altars, the sculptures, the pews, the front doors, pretty much everything you see in there.
Wow.
We had an artist from Chimayo do all the retablos.
Okay.
And
Now,
that's
retablos if you're not from New Mexico, or what?
the paintings of all the saints.
Paintings of the saints,
Yes.
okay, on the walls. And
That's the exterior of the chapel. We did the doors. We did everything you see there. We designed and built. It's a beautiful little facility right now. It's
yes,
gorgeous.
it is. Yeah. I mean, again, it's art. Now, what is that?
That's behind the Santuario de Chimayo. That they had an open field back there, and we built an area where we're building a healing gardens. We're putting monuments of our Blessed Mother.
Okay.
Every statue is of our Blessed Mother, but from different countries.
So this is an outdoor,
That's
like
an
auditorium?
outdoor gazebo,
Okay.
and they have Sunday masses there every Sunday, and once the weather warms up.
Is that right? Okay.
So that fills up every Sunday.
Let's go back to Marshall, to that shot. Tell us about the cross there, because that has a. There you go.
The cross there,
Yeah. What is that made of?
that's made out of tin. It's got about 1,200 tin roses.
10 roses.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful cross.
And so you came up with the design
We came
for
up
that?
with that, and we had an artist from Mexico do that.
Okay, he actually put it together for you.
He did build it for us, and then we built that stone pedestal. It's a cantera stone,
Mm-hmm.
so it sits up about 9 feet high. The cross itself is probably 4 or 5 feet, but the whole thing sits up about 9 feet high.
Okay.
So, but that whole area is dedicated to the Virgin Mary. We've got a group from Albuquerque that donated the money for a statue of Our Lady of Lavang, which is the Virgin Mary of Vietnam.
Okay.
We've got our Lady of
Now, what is this?
Sorrows. It was an old stable, and we converted it into a little chapel. So it's called the Holy Family Chapel.
Okay.
And it was deteriorating. It was falling apart, and then we
Right.
got it now to where it's actually a chapel where people can go in and pray and meditate, and it's a beautiful little building.
And now that's part of the Chimayo
And that's
church
it's in
facility?
the compound, yeah.
The compound,
It's,
okay.
it's in their compound.
Okay.
So the compound is there's a lot of buildings that had been neglected for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, the resources haven't been there.
Right.
But since we came in the picture, then we sort of made a team. The Father Julio is the leader of the team, and we're there helping, and we've got my brother helping. We got other people there helping, and we're getting all these things done.
Okay, excellent. So tell me, what role as an entrepreneur plays in this restoration, because if you look at entrepreneurs, a lot of them have a deep sense of giving back to the community. A lot of entrepreneurs, if you look at, going back to the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, some of the largest foundations, even the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, what's the other one, the guy from Omaha's foundation. I mean, entrepreneurs really fund a lot of projects. Yeah. So what role does you as an entrepreneur play in helping you build or fund your dream, I guess you'd call it?
Well, this is how it really happened, is once the recession hit, our store was growing by leaps and bounds. The recession hit, so it relieved us with we had more time on our hands, and and this actually fell in our lap, and things that happen are meant for a reason in the way I see it, especially when it's been happening in Chimayo. It's things like things are falling in order, and people say, are they signs or what are they? But things are happening that have directed us this way.
Okay.
And one person told me, you know what, Gil, I know business is slow here at the store, but it's probably God's way of giving you the time to put this foundation together. Because if I was busy, I probably wouldn't have had the time to put this foundation together.
Okay.
And so in the last couple of years, we've been putting a lot of effort into this foundation.
Okay.
And
so that's a challenge. So you want the time to do it, but you hope you don't have too much time because you want your business to.
So really, the recession was a blessing in certain ways.
Sure. You made use of it, right?
Yeah. And so we didn't know this was going to be our dream 2-3 years ago. Okay. This is our dream, and it's a big dream right at this point.
Right. And what's your goal to how much money ultimately are you going to raise?
We've spread it out like a 25-year plan, because there's so many things that need to get done, and there's so many things to prepare for. If it's growing every year by a certain percentage, we need to prepare for that.
Right.
So it looks like to get the things that we want done, we need about $10 million from here to there to get certain projects done.
Okay.
In between that time, we'll have the retreat functioning, and the revenues that are produced from the retreat will go to programs. But the $10 million will go directly to the construction and the upkeep and making sure that the Santuario can handle the demand.
Okay, very good. So tell me, going back to being an entrepreneur, what are the challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur? And how did you overcome them? Because you had the easy path. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily easy, but the guaranteed job working for a corporation, and was very successful. And you followed the entrepreneur path, which is not the easy path in life. So, what have some of been the challenges that you?
It's the harder path.
It is the harder path.
It's a lot harder path, right. But it's the most rewarding.
Yes.
There's a lot of challenges as an entrepreneur. Like, there's that fear factor part of it where
fears always usually comes up.
You get into it, and pretty much everything you work for all your life is going to your dream, to what you believe is going to happen.
Okay. And so let me ask Nadia, how did you deal with the fear?
We pray a lot.
You prayed a lot.
Well, we have to, necesitamos estar, no sé, centrados, pero necesitamos tener fe.
You have to have faith. Okay.
Necesitamos tener fe y continuar. Y muchas veces los problemas de nuestra empresa hacen que cambien los sueños. O Dios hace que cambien nuestros sueños. Nosotros tenemos una meta y Dios la cambia, la mueve de alguna forma, y es por esa razón que estamos envueltos en Chimayo.
Okay. So in the minute we have left, we've got, go ahead and translate if you want.
She's just saying that
faith plays a big part of it.
It's all of it.
And what I'm hearing is that God helps you.
He directs us.
Directs you.
He directs us.
And that's, the values of Latinos America are faith, family, and frijoles.
Definitely.
Frijoles is the culture.
And I truly believe in that. If we didn't have that background, I don't think we could do what we'd be doing right now. If we didn't have the faith, I don't think we could have done this. If we didn't have the Latino background, I don't think we could have done any of this.
Right.
And if we did that culture you're talking about that mixes all our Latinos, there's being humble, there's being honest. There's a lot of things to that culture that you don't see in a lot of other places. And our family has been behind us all the way, big. Without that, this dream would never happen.
Okay, I believe that. So we've got about 20 seconds left. So what advice would you give to any entrepreneur out there, or somebody who's working a job and they want to take that leap of faith to start their own business, to become an entrepreneur? What advice would you give?
Be as versatile as they can, because their plan is probably not going to happen the way they planned it.
Oh, you think?
It's going to cost more. It's going to make you're going to need to change it as soon as you can.
Takes twice as long. Takes twice as much money. That's true.
Exactly.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. And like I said, we were going to open up a tile store, and 3 months later, we were selling more furniture than anything.
Okay.
So you have to be prepared for whatever hits you.
Okay.
The market's going to tell you what they want.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
In our minds, we might think that we know what they want, but until you actually open your doors, they tell you what they want.
The market tells you what it wants. Okay.
So that's the biggest difference right there, and that's what they need to be prepared for, is what the market's going to dictate.
Very good. All right. All right. Well, Gil and Nadia, thank you very much for sharing your story. It's very inspiring, and we wish you much success. And you truly have a cultural landmark, an American cultural landmark that you're supporting. So we wish you much success with that.
Thank you, Daniel.
Right.
I appreciate you having us here.
Very, very good.
Thank you.
And I want to thank our audience for joining us on American Dream Latin Souls. Be sure to visit us on the web at latinosuccess.com.